The High Republic Trail of Shadows Issue 3 is out, and the plot continues to move right along. After discovering who could potentially lead them to the weapon being sold on the underground market, Stellan joins Emereick and Cyan as they discuss what should be done about Uttersund. Meanwhile, at the Nihil base camp, Marchion Ro has learned of the Republic discovering parts of their plan, and explains to Uttersund that if he comes across any Nihil members that may betray them, to go ahead and get rid of them. When in reality, Marchion Ro knows that Uttersund is lying to him, and sends his men to take care of the problem. Back on Coruscant, Stellan and Emereick are discussing some past relationships, while Cyan teases them on stage by playing a composition of the old nursery rhyme that has been the focus of the comic so far. Emereick has been humming the theme for months now, so Cyan figured it would be a good prank to pull on the Jedi, but it's interrupted when Stellan gets a call about another Jedi attack. All three of them rush to Starlight Beacon, where the Bond twins Serret and Tarek have undergone some awful transformation. A transformation that looks very similar to that of Loden Greatstorm, but in a much earlier stage. Jedi Knight Keeve tries to explain to them what happened, as she was with Tarek when the attack happened. She tries to get the words out, but the fear of the memories overwhelm her, and she is not able to explain much at all. Meanwhile, Uttersund is paid a visit from the Nihil. Uttersund is trying to play it off like he has nothing to hide, but it all changes when the ship is suddenly boarded out of nowhere. The Nihil prepare for an attack, but are jumped by Erethab Fowl, who proceeds to kill everyone in his path. While at the same time on Starlight Beacon, Stellan, Emereick, and Cyan are trying to determine what it could have been that Keeve had seen. Cyan wonders if this is all a hallucination brought on by the Nihil's gas, clearly only trying to eliminate possibilities. But Stellan does not take it very well at all, because he knows this thing is real, and proceeds to walk off only to run into Marshal Avar Kriss. Knowing the past between Avar and Stellan, Emereick decides to take Cyan on a tour of Starlight Beacon to give them both some privacy. Meanwhile, in the aftermath of Erethab Fowl and Uttersund's fight, it is a massive bloodbath when Marchion's men arrive from hyperspace and board the ship. After seeing the utter destruction in front of them, all are confirmed to be dead, except for Uttersund, who is suffering from a potentially fatal injury. After asking what they should do, Marchion decides it would be best if Uttersund lives. If someone really has betrayed the Nihil by using their path engine, then Uttersund is the best link to catching them. Back on Starlight Beacon, Emereick takes Cyan to the Garden Center, the same one we've seen Elzar and Avar share a moment in at the end of Light of the Jedi. And just as if it's following suit, the same thing happens here. Emereick tells Cyan that he's only ever deeply cared about the Jedi until now, and Cyan goes in for a hug, ending the issue. This was a great issue, but it felt like this was the lull of the story. I do like the character development we're getting with Emereick and Cyan, and I'm curious as to what will come of their relationship. Seeing as both Elzar and Stellan have had failed attempts at relationships, is this the best move for Emereick to make? I love that we also got to see more of Marchion Ro and his intimidating stature, but I will say as we are getting close to the release of The Fallen Star, all of the comic material is starting to blend the stories and come together. This comic, while still perfectly fine on its own, does offer a lot of information from events that have been happening in the Marvel run of the High Republic. So without having read them, the plot about Serret, Tarek, and Keeve might be a little shocking to see. So it may be worth paying attention to all the comics that are being released before The Fallen Star on January 4th. Overall, this is still a fantastic story. It's driving along nicely, and with only 2 issues left, the stakes are about to get very high for all of the characters involved, especially since all of the authors have made it clear that no one is safe in The Fallen Star, and the last 2 issues of Trail of Shadows come out after the release. A lot is going to happen before this miniseries wraps up, and it's definitely going to be a roller coaster of emotions. But that's all I have to say about Trail of Shadows Issue 3. But what were your thoughts? Do you think the storyline is going where you hoped it would? How much do you think The Fallen Star will impact the remaining 2 issues? And what are your initial thoughts on the development of the relationship between Emereick and Cyan? Is it a good idea, or will it cause problems? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. As always, be sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.